see a lot of grazes, a ton of changes in 7.5, but I think if Envy are ever going to have a time with a big open metagame that they are aware with, where they can pick something strong and try and steamroll early, this is a good place to start here in champs like Ashe. Ryze already banned for Envy, and TSM banning everyone's most hated marksman, at least for me. Varus is off the table.
Yeah, Varus is gone. It's pretty much the perma red side ban. The Ashe ban is pretty interesting here. You know, you can be looking at it like Envy says, okay, we want the only utility marksman. This will either force TSM to ban Jhin or be willing to give that up. But I think in this case, it's not really that big of a deal because people are very happy to play Ezreal these days.
Yep, certainly Ezreal's a staple bot laner for a ton of different players. Both Apollo and Turtle have a lot of experience, so they'll be comfortable there. I mean, Apollo has also gone back to things like Ezreal, like Caitlyn in recent games, so maybe it's just trying to narrow the pool a little to make some of those picks a bit better. Rengar banned for Envy though, TSM with LeBlanc, so standard stuff so far, and TSM probably no surprises for the final ban.
Yeah, there certainly are other options that you can be doing too. I mean, if you want to give over the Jhin and then pick Sivir, people have seen Sivir as a pretty solid lane matchup against that Jhin because you can push in so heavily. So that is something that Apollo could go to, but Malzahar getting taken off table. Wow, quick Rumble.
Yeah, pretty much insta-lock there from Seraph, who's seen a number of Rumble bans. Actually, he's really been creeping up the tier list for a lot of top laners by the looks of things. But Rumble's pretty good. We'll see if TSM want to take maybe that Jace away because we've seen that pad a lot as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jace mid pretty strong. I also think that with Camille on the table, that's actually a pretty nice matchup in the top lane. We've seen Camille go up against those Rumbles, be very successful, and Haunts are going to lock that in. I like this choice. If you go onto a tank in this situation, you're essentially seeding lane.
Yep.
Whereas Camille can actually build things like an early Hexstring or go into Triforce, and you can match up quite well against the Rumble and take him down.
Certainly more of a bruiser-style champion, so I think Haunts are correctly matching more of a carry role here, but Haunts' Rumble has also looked very good, so I can kind of see the logic for Envy wanting to take it away. But even just with these early picks, it could be a pretty bloody game, given that we have damage loaded into the top side. Ooh. But Karma going to mix it up, but that's an insta-lock Ziggs for Envy.
They are
and there's Jace.
Fast. Oh my God, Envy. I mean, they're saying they're coming in here with a plan right there, not being reactive. These are pre-planned picks. They are locking them in very quickly. So it is going to be Ziggs bot. It should be the Jace mid, Rumble top. We already have seen a lot shown here. TSM can go a different way. They don't have to actually lock in and match up in those lanes. They could go for their jungle and really try to target Lyra in the jungle pool. I think that would make quite a bit of sense when you say that Graves is still on the table, but they're not willing to get pinched out in the marksman role anymore. Okay.
You're actually taking Ezreal. I mean, it's a very safe pick here, so maybe TSM worried about what the second phase of this draft looks like for Envy, given that they clearly have a plan.
Yeah, I mean, there certainly are. There is the ability to get focused down there, and that can be scary. But I think that Caitlyn, Ezreal, even Sivir, all those are very reasonable, and there are only 2 bans there. Whereas if Lyra is the big threat of the team, I prefer seeing someone like him get focused, get Svenskeren a big jungle advantage, and then target Lyra in the pick and ban, knock him down a couple tiers.
Well, I mean, we've actually had jungle fall very far down, so that's where TSM are starting. Graves is their first ban here in Phase 2. Ahri is the answer for Envy, so starting to target Bjergsen. I feel like a lot of people want to go after some of these top-tier mid laners, but it's very difficult given how many different mid lane champions you can play.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think that's been something that really has shaken up the league a bit, is the fact that so many of these players are getting such big champion pools that at the start of the year it was very much about targeting the unpicked roles, whereas sometimes people are just saying it doesn't actually matter if we target this guy, he has too many champions, so only pick out those champions that are very problematic for what we already have.
Yeah, again, it's more about crafting your own composition, furthering your game plan as Envy going to line up a final ban here. Lulu was actually TSM's second, so a support ban's a bit of a pivot, but there's a Syndra ban for Envy, so taking the strong blind pick mid laners away from Bjergsen makes sense to me. They've also already got a Jace most likely, unless they want to get really funky with the draft, but looks like Sven's going to take Elise here, and again, trying to take some champions away from Lyra.
Yeah, and there's a quick Elise pick there. Lee Sin, likely the response for Lyra. He has been playing it all year long, very strong on this champion, so we'll be relatively happy there. If you look at the overall jungle tier list, most people would say Elise is certainly quite a bit higher, but Lee Sin is always someone who has the playmaking ability if you're good enough.
And looks like Brom's going to round things up for Envy, so really just wanted 3 good carries, I suppose. So pick their solo laners or 2 solo laners plus 80 carry nice and quickly. Have rounded out nicely with a good support and a strong early game jungler for Lyra. Now it's just a matter of what does Bjergsen want. He looks like the one with a pick to go.
And he will be able to get a nice matchup for himself. You could see something like Orianna, very standard, a relatively safe pick in general, and I think it does work pretty well.
Hey.
Oh, baby.
All right, I like this a little bit more. Orianna,
I like this a lot a bit more.
Orianna not exciting versus Jace. Kind of get bullied impression with all the early game damage Jace does. Bjergsen says instead, all right, you want to play a strong early game laner? I'll give you a strong early game laner.
Well, I don't know about that. I think that he's going to get bullied and pushed in harder than he would have on the Orianna. That said, he can move around the map and make plays elsewhere, and he also will have the all-in potential, obviously. But anytime you're in like a melee matchup against a range guy like this, you can expect Jace to be walking forward, autoing you out, pushing you in, and should be able to establish an early game lead for himself unless Finalizing can kind of intervene.
Yeah, Jace certainly a tough matchup for most mid laners. I think it's part of why it was a good early pick for Envy. Like I said, people have fallen into the trap many times, particularly last week. I know we covered CLG's game where they drafted maybe too much attack damage, where if you get caught with Jace, Graves, and then a million other ADs, you run into problems. Early pick Rumble. TSM didn't want to take Jace early. So, I mean, we said Envy's plan was going to be have a strong early game. They've certainly picked to have a very good early game. Now it's just a matter of making it work on the Rift.
Yeah, they really have. That Ziggs in the bot lane can take down Turret so quickly if he gets any alone time. So there may be a lot of focus there, but honestly, all of these lanes can be very swingy. They're very snowballable lanes. It's where are the junglers going to go? Where do you focus? Because if Camille gets head, that lane can be over. Same can be said for Jace or Talon, and same can be said for Ziggs with that pushing power in the bot lane.
Yeah, and I think for the TSM side, if we've been looking at their top half to really provide a lot of the initiative for TSM, it's been nice to see that, you know what, they are going to get things started. I mean, like you said, they can have players in any section of the map there, and they've got a really stable bottom lane to kind of just do what Turtle and Bio have done all season, and just kind of let things go to mid-game and then take over from there with the rest of the team.
Yep, exactly. Definitely expecting them to play safe, but at the same time, Bjergsen has a powerful ability to roam around the map, and if the Ziggs and Braum are pushing up, they certainly could get roamed on by the Talon, but I'm not expecting the lane to go that way. And both these compositions are also very tank-light. I mean, yes, Lee Sin can build into tanky. Braum is kind of a semi-tank as the support. There's not a lot of tankiness here from either team. There's no pure tanks. And TSM's composition is very heavily weighted towards physical damage.
Yep.
Obviously, the Elise does kind of mix that up, but it's not really a big deal when you're not going up against a team that's going to have like a Maokai or whatever who will become unkillable later. Yeah,
we'll have to see how it works out, because certainly a fun draft to kick things off here. I think both teams getting a lot of what they want, and Envy, it is good to see them coming in with a very clear plan. Because, I mean, they picked their first 3 picks in what? Less than 10 seconds total, I think? So clearly have an idea of what they want to do, but we're out in the Summoner's Rift now. I've had a couple of scuffles here and there. Bjergsen did get some poke onto Ninja, but been a pretty standard looking level 1. Again, everyone wants to kind of keep tabs on the Raptor camp. There is a ward over there for Envy on TSM side, but Fen going to start there anyway with a bit of help from Hornso.
And TSM critically didn't actually get a return ward, so they don't really know where Lyra is starting. They may be able to infer it based on when Envy's bottom lane does arrive. But they're actually giving a pretty good leash here at the red buff. That's actually this is going to be a smiteless leash. So we may see a little bit of cheese here from Lyra if he wants to go for it. Could look to do a very early level 2 gank or try to go buff to buff and then invade. He has some options here, but this is something to keep track of.
Well, definitely running straight into that blue side jungle, so we'll keep tabs on Lyra in a second. 2v2 though, I started a Firefrost and Wild Turtle kind of getting to the wave first because of the help that Envy did want to give their jungler, so kind of early pressure advantage is in TSM's side right now.
And I mean, Karma versus Braum, you're generally going to be able to push in regardless of what happens. Biofrost will have that matchup advantage. And despite the Ziggs pushing power, when you pair it with a melee support, you're kind of losing some of that, right? So it does seem like you can say, oh, well, it's shoring up Braum's weaknesses, but at the same time, you're not emphasizing Ziggs' strengths. So it's kind of a hit and miss there.
Yeah, kind of splitting the strengths you've got there as Bjergsen does dash in. That's where Talon gets very problematic. Level 2 is particularly good for the Assassin. So Ninja is going to have to play a little safe. This Haunter, good stun there onto Seraph. Actually has a wave behind him as well. So just going to walk at Seraph, deal some good damage, and back away once his wave joins him.
You really need to see Ninja returning autos, though, when Bjergsen jumps in like that. There wasn't even a single auto shot back. And if you're caught kind of sleeping while you are shooting the minions, they're shooting you, you can't really have that at the pro level, or people will get too much of that advantage. And here comes that play that they were trying to set up. Lyra already to the top side. They're looking for the dive on Haunter.
It's another level 3 dive. Haunter does get the passive up there. Stuns on a Seraph. Big play from Haunter. Might even be a kill at his first blood to the top lane.
I mean, Haunter was full health. What are they thinking with these dives? We've seen so many of these overforced top lane dives. Maybe if Camille was still level 2, but he hits level 3, and that is an easy kill. Haunter didn't even have to flash, and he gets first blood.
Well, Svenskeren flashes as well, looking for Lyra, but doesn't quite hit him with the cocoon. Level 4 now, though, for the Elise. Lyra only 3, and Sven's going to try and take some of this jungle away.
Yeah, Sven now can bully him out. He has that advantage. He has his smite available to do some counter jungling. And honestly, this is so tough for Seraph at this point. But I just don't even see, like, in what world does this work, right? He's already level 3. He's already full health. Seraph is tanking it up, but he can't take these shots. And Lyra, if he stayed around, would have just gone 2. I mean, you blow the summoner and you get the kill. This was just so poorly done by Envy.
Yeah, it feels like as soon as you see the level 2, you have to back away. And now TSM are just going to continue to punish this lane. Seraph, he's got no flash. He does have teleport, but Bjergsen's already over the wall. Sven's behind him, so they're going to try and get the kill. Exhaust is down. Cocoon's going to miss. Good dodge there from Seraph, but they're just going to go all in for it. Haunter, huge flash stun after the tether.
Ouch. We talked about the snowball, and it's going to be rolling here. Thankfully, Seraph didn't TP back into die, so we will be able to collect some of this experience, and it's not a complete disaster, but still a great start on the top side for TSM. And this really just felt like both in pick and ban plus this path was super pre-planned from Envy, and they're like, okay, Seraph, you're going to get Camille real low, then we're going to come top and we're going to kill him. But he wasn't really low. It didn't work, and they're able to run it back as Seraph had to blow his flash. Was able to sidestep it, but it just doesn't matter. There's 3 members here that can easily juggle that turret aggro and take him down.
That was a super long-range hook shot as well from Haunter, so impressive stuff from TSM. Again, that trio that's been just picking up a lot of steam lately. Still looking like they're on form. 2 quick kills for TSM. They're up pretty much 1,000 gold at the end of it as well. And all of Envy's early game stats going to start to take a dip.
Yeah, and on the bot side, they're losing as well. It's not like they're giving anything up down here because they've had Envy shoved in the whole time, right? But Lyra has been focusing on the top side, so while Turtle and Biofrost have been able to bully, have been able to carve themselves out a pretty nice little advantage, and Karma plus Ezreal is an extremely safe lane, even if they do get attacked.
Yeah, pretty frustrating as well. Apollo continually taking poke, Total even weaving orders into Hakuo, because again, Melee Braum has to stand really close to try and help Apollo CS.
And this is kind of why we've seen Afromu actually go for coin even in some of these matchups, but Lyra has set up a counter gank. They are looking for their turn.
Oh, he actually stunned Lyra, but Svenskaren's here as well. Going to start off a 2v2. Seraph, I don't think he's got quite enough for this. Lyra looking to finish it off, does flash on the Haunter, and Seraph burns him down. Svenskeren now looking for the Traker, but Bjergsen's roaming up as well. Sven's going to have to outplay this for a little longer because Ninja's behind Bjerg also.
That's a big minion wave he's actually tanking right now. They need to be careful. Ninja's still coming up.
Cocoon doesn't quite land yet. Bjergsen flashes in for it, not going to get the kill. Seraph, does take out Svenskeren, but Bjergsen now level 6. Lyra instantly backs out of the way, but Ninja is there just in case.
That was so big for Envy. The fact that Lyra's in there to counter gank, knowing they're going to continue to focus on this top side, that actually ends up with Seraph getting a couple kills there. And Seraph is actually going to be up on gold over Haunter after this.
Yeah, evens it up. Doesn't quite give him the lead overall, but we'll watch this one again. I mean, Haunter just didn't know he was in there.
No, of course not. And Elise is coming in, but this is a pretty big wave already working on them. Haunter has taken so much early damage. He would have needed to actually flash Elise in Q or something like that to have a chance of that being very impactful. Still, they want to stick around. They want to try to corral some of these kills, but look at all the damage Svenskaren's even just taking from this massive minion wave, and that's very impactful in these early game fights. Thankfully for Bjergsen, he both gets a kill and proc 6. Because without that, he would have probably died too.
Yeah, Ninja coming up. Nice follow there from Envy's mid laner, but now 3-2 in favor of TSM as far as those kills goes. Envy answer back well and get some of that gold back in. TSM still up a pretty substantial amount of gold, but Envy kind of got Seraph back to parity, which after that first dive, you think this lane's completely over.
Yeah, that was really important for him to do. Camille can really take over a lane so easily from those kind of points because you have such far engage range. You can lock them in with your ultimate. Your dueling potential is very high. When you get ahead, you simply outstat them and just kill them.
Well, you can see Haunter still back in the lane. Got a healthy CS lead, so Seraph have to play back and continue to catch up.
Yeah, a lot of this is going to be evened out as long as he does not get dove. So TSM is actually looking to set up a dive as the minion wave crashes because there is a solid 15 plus minions that he's going to pick up here, but they're going to try to kill him. And if Lyra is not here in time, it could be devastating, but Lyra is moving up, so is Ninja. TSM may have to call this off.
Yeah, Ninja actually already caught Bjergsen, Thundering Blow back. Good equalizer there from Seraph. Bjergsen gets himself over the wall, but Sven not going to be so lucky. Repels back down, trying to make something happen, but Sven's going to get caught out and killed. Ninja grabbing one for himself.
Yeah, good rotation there from Hakuo. That is pretty telegraphed from TSM. I feel like they're over-forcing on top side. I mean, you can see that kind of a dive setup coming from a mile away. You know you have to protect your top laner as a massive wave like that crashes in. And yes, Seraph loses a little bit of it to try to come over and help, but still, they get the kill, and he's able to pick up the majority and at least stay relevant XP-wise.
We'll see if TSM's duo lane can maybe pressure a little more. Apollo going to have to fight on his own for a little while longer as Hakuho now finally getting his way back down. Seraph does pick up a big chunk of minions, though still behind, but should be able to take these and again continue to even out the lane. And that was just smart from Envy. I mean, TSM, they want to use the talent to try and roam, but like you said, very telegraphed and punished well as Bjergsen's going to go back in. No, not quite. Not time for another item. In fact, Ninja with double buffs is kind of an issue for the next few minutes.
It's going to make laning a lot harder for sure. Bjergsen has done well, though, as far as the lane goes. I mean, he has made multiple roams and is actually basically dead even in CS, so everything looking good for the mid lane there for TSM. Ninja has a tiny experience advantage. He was like, 20% up, couple mains, whatever. But really, it's a nothing deal. And we're in a very even game at this point. I mean, the gold lead is there for TSM, but I certainly don't think it's enough that it really impacts the fights too much.
No, and it's really just that farm differential. Haunts are up 20, Total also up about the same.
And to me, the biggest thing is actually not even the farm, it's the XP between Lyra and Sven Skaren. So Sven has gotten some stuff done, but he's actually 2 levels down on the enemy Lee Sin now. So gold lead or not, you run into that Lee Sin, you're going to be in trouble.
Oh, this happens and you get tagged by Braum passive. Repel doesn't really have anywhere good to go. There's the ulti out from Hakuo, gets all 3 of them almost, and Sven Skaren going to get blown up by Apollo. Shield's going to block the ult from Total as well. Really nice pick from Envy.
Yeah, they're doing very well. I mean, Lyra is tracking Sven Skaren across the map. They get the summoner, they get the kill again. And Lyra is just going to get even more ahead in the XP. And that is so big because you get so many stats out of these levels that the gold is not even the biggest of deals. It's the skill ups and it's the base stats increasing as you level up.
Yeah, Lyra's only about 600 gold up, which is not representative at all of the total lead he has on Sven Skaren. Total and Bifrost, though, just going to clean this wave out, try and reset the situation. I mean, Total is doing really well for himself. He's got the tier, that's stacking up nicely. He's got the early Sheen, so the pressure is here, and you can see this bottom lane tower is actually pretty low. But TSM going to have to either play back a little more and not find themselves in so many aggressive positions, or be a little bit cleaner on their execution. Because we know Envy, they're just going to continue to hammer away and try and find advantages. So TSM kind of have a point now where they need to make a decision. Do we want to match you in aggression, or do we want to play a bit more defensively?
If I'm TSM, I honestly feel like playing a little bit more defensively, playing a little bit more measured is the more intelligent approach, simply because Envy is a good team mechanically. They're a good team early. Where they struggle is later in the game. They can't match up macro-wise, but Lyra is here looking for that kick in on Turtle.
Kicks Turtle back in, should be a stun landing in. Lyra gets a kill for himself as Apollo going to slow down Bifrost with a minefield. Hakuo attacked him, that's a flash force, and Lyra just missing that Q. He would have gone straight in for it.
I mean, oh, now comes Bjergsen. He's looking to clean up here. Apollo very low. Right, does have heal.
Yeah, he's got his ultimate. Good tag though. Apollo is going to go down. Bjergsen wants to flash up, but he gets stunned on the other side. Lyra should be able to play cleanup. Kill goes over and he gets a second.
Not worth it for Bjergsen. Blows both his summoners, uses his ultimate, and dies while mid lane is being pushed in. And Sven Skaren dies mid lane again. Sven Skaren is having a horrible game.
I mean, he's 2 levels down on Ninja as well, so he's trying to cover mid lane, gets himself killed by Jace instead.
He's 3 levels down on Ninja now. I mean, that is starting to look a little bit ugly for TSM. It just feels like they're over-forcing. They're trying to make these things happen when the setups are not there, and their bot lane lead is gone now with the kill over on Apollo. Top lane is equalizing a bit, Ninja's head, and Lyra is just crushing this game.
Yeah, it's actually 1,000 gold up, so watch this one again. Lyra, pretty clean start to this.
Yeah, I mean, he just outwaits Turtle, basically. Waits for the exhaust to finish, waits for Turtle to flash, knowing he will have to. And then it's an easy follow-up for the kick flash there from Lyra. And Bjergsen coming down, he was always going to be able to get the kill on Apollo, but the question was, how do you then get out? And the fact that he blows both summoners and dies is pretty devastating. And at the meantime, I mean, I don't even really know how that started out. Maybe Ninja was waiting the bush and Sven face checked him, but definitely should not be trying to fight up against that Jason.
No, didn't work out for the Elise. I mean, TSM 7-4 now. Envy actually up in kills and gold. They actually got 1,000 gold, which is what
good.
TSM started off with after that botched dive from Envy in the top lane.
And we did get confirmation it was Sven actually face-checking Ninja, who was anticipating the jungler coming down to bot side. So a well-laid trap from Ninja, and he is rewarded.
Yep, another kill in the column for Sven Skaren. 4 kills.
Also, something worth pointing out that you pretty much never see these days is this is actually a tier Jace. So he's going for more poke style. He's actually going less towards the power early in the game with a Ghostblade or a Black Cleaver or whatever right off the bat. And he's going for more of a scaling build and still doing well.
Well, we'll see if Ninja can keep it going because he's looking good so far. TSM back to their old tricks in bottom lane as Sven and Bjergsen trying to team up for a play. Again, that turret's looking like a pretty good objective for them to take, but need to kind of confirm a kill and then be able to get the objective. Instead, they'll fall back, get vision around this Drake area, and maybe consider that as their next step.
Yeah, they certainly are close to getting that turret, but if you try to force it too quick, one bad fight down there where Ziggs lives, he will take down your turret pretty much from full very, very quickly. So they're looking to fight here in the mid.
Hakuho actually getting himself locked up, but he's tanking a decent amount of damage. Looking after Bifrost, does get him. Ulti dodged out there by Sven Skaren. Ziggs not going to get any kills just yet. Hakuho leaps out of the way, but Turtle assassinates him. Apollo in the meantime did kill Spam, but here's Bjerg and
Haunter
Haunter.
TP down. Seraph does not have his TP for another second or so. Will he join in? It's up now, it looks
Haunter
like.
barely gets on top of that. Doesn't quite stun Apollo, but he'll issue the ultimatum instead. Does get exhausted, and I think he's going to get killed here. Apollo
They just
should lead to
abandoned
it.
him.
Lyra managed to get the kill. Bjergsen goes down as well to Ninja. Envy clean up the back end.
What is happening with TSM? It seems like they're completely not on the same page here. Haunter committing to an all-in there as the rest of his team backs off. Envy gets a 4 for 0, pushing top side, pushing bot side. They'll likely get 2, if not 3 turrets here pretty soon, as mid lane turret is very low as well.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja can take that down, but watch this one again. I mean, Hako looks like he's caught here to start the play.
But Lyra, as always, is there. He's in position, and they opt into this fight, even though Lyra is very strong. And Hakuo, they're focusing this Braum, but he takes so long to get actually taken out. Apollo is able to move up here. Turtle's pushed out of the fight. And then this is kind of where I start to question it. I mean, I don't think TSM should be looking for this fight. They could just run up straight through River, probably retreat. Instead, Haunter decides to go in as Wild Turtle is bailing out on the fight, essentially. Bjergsen's like, oh, I don't know that I really want to go in there either. So he tries to come in a little bit late and help out. And it just does not feel like this is a coordinated TSM. They're not looking like they're on the same page.
Yeah, looking certainly rough. And Envy's early game looking amazing, actually. They're 5,000 gold up.
Yeah, they got they got 2 of the turrets. They didn't get the 3rd one on the bot. But still, you know, anytime you give Ziggs, he'll be knocking on that door. And so much effort from Sven Skaren to put these solo lanes ahead. They are both pretty far behind now.
All right, well, another trap being set for the top lane. Haunter and Seraph already starting out a fight. Bjergsen is here. Flash from Seraph. Lyra going to try and get in there. Zonius from Seraph buys a bit of time. Can't quite save him. Equalizer down. They might look for a trade. Ninja finds his way up again and takes down Camille. And now Bjergsen going to get taken down. Ninja grabs the double. Bjergsen does get the other kill, but Ninja is so speedy with the Storm Raiders, and Sven just gets out of the way.
5-0-1 on Ninja now. Level 12 on this guy. He can push up top lane as well. Getting very, very scary here for TSM as they're just continuously forcing these fights. This one, at least for them, goes pretty even, but still more power being funneled into this Jace that is already getting so strong. And, you know, Seraph, he decides to flash because he has the Zonias. I think if he does not have Zonias here, he just accepts his death. Instead, he gets the Zonias. The fact that he gets his Equalizer down allows them to go into this 2v3 because there's so much chip damage already put down. And Bjergsen able to trade a kill back, but Ninja's way too strong for them to actually stay around and fight.
Yeah, that was an unempowered Q on Sven that took about 30% of his health.
Yeah, that's scary.
Black Cleaver done now as well for Ninja, so he does have a second item built up already. And this is kind of the nice part about this comp. In Apollo with a good amount of poke on a Wild Turtle. I mean, if Envy were looking to get ahead using their top 3, which is how we've seen them get ahead in a lot of their games. I mean, Lyra's presence has been amazing all game, but I almost like that there's a Ziggs here to help Envy continue to snowball the game once they've got a lead, because they're really good at getting leads, but we know they struggle in the mid game. Ziggs patches up a lot of that, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's pretty smart. I mean, it's essentially giving them a very clear win condition, to your point. Hey, what do? We siege. Jace hits them with a shock blast. You know, Apollo sieging the turret. He pokes them out. If you actually land a good shock blast on someone, you have Equalizer plus the Ziggs ult to follow up. So there's very clear ways to play the game for Envy, and they are making it look so good in this early game.
Yep, they'll take the Cloud Drake as an afterthought as well. After getting that bottom turret, Ziggs finally able to siege that one down. So Envy continuing to react well to TSM's aggression and then also force plays when they feel like. I mean, now Envy are back on the offensive. Honsa has a long way to go to try and get out of this one. Seraph commits the ultimate. Good Zonyas. I did not know the interaction worked that way.
It actually took the cooldown too.
Yeah, that feels bad.
He just straight immuned it.
Oh, now Ninja actually looking for a 1v2 play. Already a kill there for Elise. Did take down Lyra, but Ninja is just insanely strong.
These guys have families. He's just, I mean, he sees the jungler at the blue buff. He's like, yeah, I'll blast going on to him. He's just running straight in. This is like a solo queue game at this point where Ninja is just going off and he's just going to walk around the map killing everybody.
Yeah, Sarah pressuring topside as well. Ninja and Hakuho don't want to join, but they might catch TSM trying to rotate up to save the turret instead. They're actually dipping back towards mid, but Seraph not going to stick around for too long. Envy don't quite convert off those kills, but again, continuing to stack advantages for themselves. Now 6,500 gold ahead.
TP coming in from Hanser. Seraph, whoa, Bjergsen kind of backed off for a second there.
Here's round two. Stun there from Haunter after the hook shot. Bjergsen leaps over the wall. Should be enough damage here for Seraph. Zony's not up for a little while longer. Ninja maybe going to turn it back around. Haunter, though, does get the kill, and Hakuho didn't want to use the ulti there.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja, as soon as he gets exhausted, he takes a step back, and that is very smart. As strong as he is, he's not strong enough to 1v3 through that exhaust. But at the same time, Apollo's pushing in the bot lane. There's a lot committed to get that kill on Seraph on the top lane. That's the TP down, so TP advantage goes over to Envy. You can see with the Sheen completed especially, Apollo really going to be chunking down this turret. And Ninja here means it's under threat of just going down immediately.
Yeah, they just need to get it low enough. It is actually enraged to detonate now. Don't think Apollo got the charge down, so they're going to have to wait.
Yeah, and Lyra's going to come up to support them to actually allow them to go aggressively and push this off because he knows TSM wants to keep this turret alive. But with the strength of Lyra and Ninja here, it's very difficult for TSM to actually make a play around the bot side right now.
Yeah, I mean, Total and Bifrost have to play far back to their turret to not get themselves poked down or just straight up killed if Lyra or Ninja can find a way in. I mean, even sticking around now is a little dangerous from TSM.
It really is, and at this point, with multiple members showing from TSM, they could actually just straight up go for a dive. They get that turret, and they will probably just head right back to mid lane and start pushing on that tier 2. They're just looking to go around, clean up as much gold as they can, and get a monumental advantage before they start to really force down the inner turrets.
Yep, Seraph actually starting it off, which is why he was absent for the top lane turret that Hansa was able to get over for TSM. It's actually their first turret of the game, so you can see just how far behind they're having to play back from at this stage. The rest of the team will exit together. It looks like they're setting a trap here in the tri-bush, potentially going to move through this blue side jungle of Envy and see if they can't spot somebody out.
Mana is going to be pretty close here for a Ninja 2, which is going to be even more power going this way. He's very close to actually having that fully stacked, and because he got that early, I mean, this is not a guy that is super blue buff dependent now. He's going to be able to poke people out, look for the siege, and ooh, look at that early poke. They want to fight here.
Really nice.
Equalizer is available.
Yeah, Seraph can look for this here. Hakuho also trying to tie some people up. Bifrost is here. The Equalizer doesn't quite cut them off. Bjergsen, we're going to slay Apollo, but he actually might have gone a little too deep. Ninja poking off to the side. Can it close the distance here? I mean, Ninja is so strong. Who's he looking for? He's going to go for Haunter. Ultimatum already down, but Haunter now trapped in his own ultimate. He's going to go down to the godlike Ninja.
He's just so strong. They really can just run around the map, fight wherever they want, but TSM is doing the smart play now. You avoid them. You try to take turrets wherever they are not. So TSM gonna grab another turret here. At the same time, Envy is pushing up. Bjergsen should be able to just hop over the walls and get out.
Yep, poke there is nice from Ninja,
God.
but Bjergsen has plenty of walls to go over. Lyra chasing him down as well, but Bjergsen should be able to get out of this. Ooh, Lyra actually maybe cut him off. Bjergsen, one more wall. Lyra's gonna say, yep, I can still follow you. Does get the spell shield off there with the Tempest. Really nice stuff from Lyra. Now exhaust down. Hakuho is here as well. Kick in Lyra, looking for the outplay, and Hakuho seals it.
That was very close there. A brave fight against Bjergsen, but without the ultimate, not much more he could have done. They're pushing down mid lane now. Ninja, it's just, there's no one he sees that he doesn't want to try to kill.
And you said this already, there's no true tank on TSM in this draft. Neither team have anyone that can really withstand a lot of damage. So when Ninja is as far ahead as he is now, working swiftly towards that third damage item, Jace is already strong in the early mid stages of the game. Like, there is no one to absorb this poke from Ninja.
I mean, where's the armor, right? Like, it's the only armor at all is Ninja Tabbies for Bjergsen. That's it.
I found it.
So that is so tough. If he hits anyone, very easy to layer the Equalizer, the Ziggs ulti down. What we didn't see in that last top lane fight from Envy was how the Braum ult and the Equalizer are kind of supposed to be used in conjunction. If you hit the Braum ult, very easy to layer the Equalizer on, and they're knocked up and they're slowed inside it. So that's what we want to see in the team fights.
You can see Apollo has now finished his Lich Bane, so Siege mode should be well and truly online now for Envy. Got a backup blasting one as well for AC.
Monster is far down there.
Yeah, onto Hakuo, but he's already been tagged. Equalizer's real nice. Hakuo actually taking a little too much, but he lived through the rest of the burst. Apollo just takes out Haunter and Sarah kills Bjergsen.
Yeah, that's both the solo laners down now for TSM as they are just getting smacked around the map here now, falling so far behind. And Envy's just going to push straight up mid.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Envy aren't even close to done at this point as far as their mid-game power goes. I mean, gold lead's still ballooning. They're 8,000 gold ahead now, and TSM have only lost 5 turrets. I mean, that's a lot, but there is so much more for Envy to take.
And while they are, you know, a team with a lot of mid-game power, Ziggs does not fall off. Rumble does not really fall off. These guys continue to get stronger and stronger throughout the game. So it's certainly not even a team composition where they must win right now. And it really does feel like TSM is out of sorts. I mean, why are both Haunter and Bjergsen even down here pushing the wave together? Even the lane assignments feel a little bit out of whack. You know, if anything, this should be Haunter pushing bot lane, Bjergsen pushing top lane, trying to avoid Envy and create pressure around the turrets.
You see Bjergsen there looking a little puzzled, which is not a look we usually see on the star mid laner's face. TSM, I mean, they knew Envy were going to come out swinging, but I don't think they quite expected this.
No. It does feel a little bit like Bjergsen is under some pressure to make plays because he's on the Talon. He's not on something like Cassio or Ori where he feels like, hey, you know what, chill out. I'm going to farm to 6 items. I'm going to carry late game team fights. He feels the pressure to be making plays, and it's not panning out.
Not yet, at least. TSM got a big hole to climb out of. Envy, also under the replay, did pick up the Ocean Drake. So if they wanted to get Siege mode on at any time, going to be even better now with the extra regeneration. It's good with and against the poke that Envy do have, so they'll be happy to take that. And the thing I like about Envy right now, especially because they're a team that we have criticized, particularly in map movements around the mid to late game, is they're not panicking. They're actually just playing very calm, knowing they're ahead, going to their lanes, and just kind of doing things as you should be doing them, and not pressuring themselves to try and end the game unnecessarily early. They know they're ahead, they just need to stay ahead and slowly end the game.
Yeah, they're taking the advantages wherever they can get them, and they do have very clear win conditions. But that said, you know, they are massively ahead, and I think can push the pace a little bit more. You know, you can try to knock down any of the remaining outers, like the mid-tier 2, I think really should be a target for them. Get the last of the easy gold, and then look towards Baron, get Vision, or Siege Inhibitor.
Well, plenty of options open. That's kind of what happens when you're 8,000 gold ahead. Apollo busy with the top lane. Level 14, so not quite there on the rank 3 ultimate for Ziggs, but shouldn't be too far away. Looks like they're going to get this lane going. I mean, right now, Envy can comfortably pressure 3 lanes. Not quite sure where Ninja is. Was looking for Haunter again, I think, but instead going to go back to mid lane, get that started, and at some point, Envy are either going to keep sieging mid, find a pick, or break down Baron. They've got pretty much complete control vision-wise as well.
Yeah, they want to make sure that they really do have a full grasp on vision around the Baron and in TSM's jungle. They have Baron vision controlled, but they don't have TSM's jungle actually controlled yet. And that's the next step. You need to get the vision in there, then pick people off who either are coming to face check, or if they have no vision at all, then you can rush down the Baron. Because the last thing MV needs at this point with this big of a lead is a 50-50 Baron.
Yep, credit to TSM for strong defensive vision on the correct side of the map there. Making sure they keep their jungle on lock, but Envy now going to group together. That's one of the 3 pink wards they had. You can see the second there above Fence Karen, and there's one just about where Bifrost is recalling on your mini-map. So one down, TSM going to have to replace those. And Lyra, again, very quickly moving between sections of the map, just pressuring any of TSM sideliners, because you do not want to give free farm over if you can help it. So Haunter has to be always thinking in the back of his head, is someone coming here to gank me again? Or maybe Seraph just all in me and I'll die, because Seraph's also got strength as well.
Yep, definitely have to give that respect over. And something that Envy has done, because there is such a heavy AD component to TSM's comp, is look at all the ninja heavies that they're stacking. There's actually all across the board here. The only one without them is Apollo. And there's even, you know, Zhonya's. They're getting little bits of armor here and there, and Lyra is already building into that. Because Sven Skaren, he's the AP threat, but he was put very far behind. So he's not really someone that you need to itemize towards at this point in the game.
Certainly not. There's Apollo actually going for a death cap, not a void stuff. So looking to just really juice up the AP. I mean, given how far ahead he is, can't really blame him for the build.
Plus, who has MR, right? You know, Void Staff, I think, makes a lot of sense if someone is building MR, but at this point, no one really is. So get more damage for the turrets, get more damage for that backline, and will Envy, they're going to back out.
Good E there from Hakuo. I mean, one of the tough things for TSM is even when they can try and find a pick, Braum is actually stopping a lot of this damage. Silencer did get a turret in the bottom side. Envy, starting to play a little sloppier now. They could certainly be pressing this lead a little more, but feels like they don't want to give it away unnecessarily. At some point, they need to take a risk. It won't be a big one, given how far ahead they are, but certainly trying to do all of their homework and really prep things up. And at some point, I think they'll realize that, you know what, we can just start this Baron and force TSM to come to us, or start a siege, or just do something instead of, you know, hoping TSM walk into.
And that obvious something is clear out all the vision, right? Get more pinks. Place the pinks in TSM's topside jungle. Move in as 5 so they can't even come in on you, even if you are face checking. And now the Baron has been spotted, but Apollo is zoning them out. I don't think they have enough damage to actually rush this down, but with that damage...
Good pick
the
from
shock
Ninja.
blast.
And now the jungler is dead. That should be Baron over to Envy. They might take a lot of damage doing it, but Haunter can join. Ulti there from Ezreal is not going to get close. And Hakuo there as well. So Smite's going to go down. That's going to be Baron over to Envy, and looks a little messy, but they get it cleanly there. Nice pick on a Sven, ensures they get the buff.
Yeah, they did not have full vision control, but Apollo able to land so much damage. And that in conjunction with the Ziggs ult, you can see the long-range potential of this combination, and even Equalizer layered on top of that. So now, with Baron, the siege should be on for Envy here. Look for them to try to break the base with this buff. I really think with this gold lead and the Baron buff, you really have to break the base.
Yeah, it looks like it's close to lights out for TSM. Envy just have to deliver one final blow. Seraph going to get things started here in the bottom lane. He's kind of been hanging out for a little while, collecting gold.
Even if you can't end the game, getting an inhibitor with this Baron is so key because it means they're always going to have to respond to that. And then you can pressure the other inhibitors and really start to crack it open because at this point, Lichbane death cap on Ziggs and
Good
Apollo.
Pick onto Apollo, but Ninja trying to answer back. He got exhausted. He's 1v3 right now as Hakuo going to try and save him. Rest of Envy looking to respond. They can fight this out. It's only 4v4 right now. TSM just on the retreat. But Lyra tags Biofrost, and now he's after Turtle. Flashes in, tags him with the red buff, but Turtle flashes over the red wall. Ninja, he's got the damage to do it if he can find a pick. Straight onto Biofrost, hammers him down. And that's a trade. As Svenskeri now getting dove. Might not be a trade after all. Seraph going to get the next one.
TSM pick up a kill on Apollo, but Envy are happy to take the 4v5 as a lot was expended, and they're just so strong. Even without proper execution, I mean, the Braum ult whiffed on everyone. The Equalizer was not great, but it just doesn't matter. They're so strong, they will crack the inhibitor.
They've got a strong lead, and they can afford to make a few hiccups here and there. Bottom inhibitor tower going down. The inhibitor will fall quickly after it. And this is kind of the position we're talking about. Baron usually either ends the game or puts you in a game-winning position. That's where Envy are now, breaking open that section of the map.
Especially with Apollo back on the map, he can come back up here. There's still almost half the time left on the Baron. They could very easily look for a second inhibitor here.
Maybe even do it the easy way, take all 3. There's a Drake up as well, so Envy have a lot of things they can take off the map here if they want to extend that lead. Looks like they're going to get some maybe last buys in here as we'll watch this one again. I mean, Apollo does get himself picked here.
Yeah, he does get picked off, but a lot is committed. I mean, it's Bjergsen's ult, it's Haunter's flash ult, even Wild Turtle kind of really running in there very far, and this was not a great ult from Hakuo. The Equalizer got some damage down, but Envy is so strong. With the major cooldowns down on TSM, they can pile in and chase this, knowing that there's not much chance of a big turnaround. And Ninja has just played such a great game for himself. 9-0-4, really taking over.
Yeah, I mean, huge CS lead as well. He's just kind of broken open every fight that Envy have had since about 5 minutes into the game.
So looking for a flank. They want to just keep trying to fight. They know they can't let this stall out in Siege. So TSM is trying to play to win, not play to not lose, which generally just means stall out and slowly bleed the game.
Envy though, doing the right thing, sweeping through the jungle, making sure they get vision down, and it looks like top lane is going to be their next point of attack. They only have 25 seconds of Baron left, so it won't make it in time to try and siege out the turrets. Nice from TSM to delay the game at least and only lose 1 inhibitor off this Baron, but that doesn't mean Envy's pressure is going to really let up. As they did manage to take that second Cloud Drake. They'll have Elder on the table once that spawns as the next major objective. Baron will come back up as well, and TSM is still woefully behind in overall resources.
Yeah, and the bot wave is massive, right? Like, this wave is huge. TSM are just looking for an engage, but if this does not go quickly for them, these super minions are very quickly going to get to the Nexus
Oh,
turrets. Envy just
huge
has to
ultimate
delay.
from Apollo. 4 members of TSM already took down Redemption. Shouldn't be enough to save them here as Biofrost will be the first casualty. Spen is going to join shortly after from Apollo's auto attack, and Lyra are going to continue down. He does ride the queue all the way in. Poor Turtle's going to get himself taken down by Lyra, and that's 3 clean ones for Envy.
And I think that's the game. Envy's just going to walk it down. They have this huge wave here. They should be able to take down TSM, and they sure played the early game well.
Certainly did. Pressure looks like too much. TSM maybe forced the issue too hard, but Envy answer back twofold and take down TSM's Nexus in our first game. They had a plan. They always play the same way, and they made it look awfully good then.
I know. I mean, I guess we get good enough lead in the early game. The late game does not have to be played perfectly. Envy really, I like the draft a lot. They clearly had a plan. They were able to execute it very well. But I think so much of the credit of this game, even though it was Ninja who ended up 10-0-5, has to go to Lyra.
Yep.
I think Lyra was just insane in this game. He was